Hi there, welcome to Film Gist. Today we're diving into a suspenseful and unsettling story with a crime thriller movie, Woman of the Hour. Based on real events, this film brings true crime to the forefront and explores the chilling consequences of hidden danger. If you've ever been fascinated by how charm and deception can mask dark intentions, this film will captivate you. The film follows Rodney Alcala, a seemingly charismatic photographer who uses his charm to mask his dark intentions. But what happens when someone with such a horrific past steps into the spotlight on a seemingly innocent and popular game show? Through the lens of that show, this movie peels back the layers of a predator hiding in plain sight. This film takes us back to the 1970s, a time when trust was often given without question, and the world had yet to fully understand the horrors some people could hide. Watch out, spoilers ahead. The story begins in the desolate plains of Wyoming in 1977, where we witness an unsettling scene that sets the film's tone. A young woman stands in an isolated field. Her vulnerability is starkly apparent as she sits across from a photographer who appears to be capturing more than just her image. This photographer coaxes the woman into revealing her pain, a recent breakup that has left her feeling exposed. Rodney, the artist with a camera, seems genuinely interested, even empathetic. Yet, as his questions delve deeper, his intentions darken. Suddenly, he attacks, strangling the young woman until her breath leaves her. But even that's not the end. He revives her, only to repeat the process, drawing out her suffering. It's a shocking introduction to Alcala's character and the twisted game he's playing, and it's one that immediately hooks viewers into the story's suspenseful and haunting tone. Fast forward to 1979 in San Gabriel, California. Here we meet Amy, a young runaway whose life circumstances have forced her into a precarious existence. Being a disabled person, she spends her days wandering the streets and occasionally stealing to survive. One afternoon, Rodney spots Amy while passing through a street, and she catches his eye. He approaches her with the same charm that fooled many before, claiming he can make her a star, a promise of fame and glamour through his camera lens. He says he's looking for a model because he's going to participate in some photo contest, and he thinks she'll be his perfect subject. Lonely and vulnerable girl, Amy, is enticed by the offer, agreeing to accompany him to an isolated location for a photo shoot. Rodney uses his charming and intriguing behavior to make her believe him, and she starts telling him about herself, thinking that he cares. They stop by an old road checkpoint and walk to a place far from the road. As the sun sets over the hills, Rodney's camera clicks capture Amy in the soft, fading light. But soon, the lens isn't the only thing fixated on her. The same darkness we witnessed in Wyoming returns. Unaware of the danger and trying to savor the moment, Amy becomes Rodney's next victim. Now, Alcala's pattern becomes clear. The film depicts the psychological power he holds, an aspect that makes him even more terrifying. The movie's focus shifts to 1978, Hollywood, Los Angeles, where we meet Cheryl, an aspiring actress with dreams as big as her work ethic. Cheryl is ambitious, yet her career is challenging, and she struggles to secure meaningful roles. Her agent, Helen, suggests a detour. Cheryl should appear on the hit TV show, The Dating Game. It's a show with a lighthearted premise, where singles ask questions of hidden contestants, hoping to find a potential match. Cheryl is initially reluctant. She feels the show is beneath her, but Helen, along with her friend Terry, sees this as a way for Cheryl to gain exposure in the industry. The show's atmosphere is carefree, and with big smiles and laughter all around, it's hard to imagine the dark turn that will soon unfold. When Cheryl arrives at the studio, she's prepped for her appearance on stage. She meets the host of the show, Ed Burke, who instructs Cheryl to act like a stupid girl while on the stage and only ask the scripted questions she's given. The setup is typical of 1970s television, innocent on the surface, complete with cheesy music and flirtatious banter. The three bachelors sit behind a partition, hidden from Cheryl's view but on full display for the audience. Among them, as bachelor number 3, is none other than Rodney Alcala. The tension rises as he introduces himself to the audience with a casual charm, and his responses drip with suggestive humor. The studio bursts into laughter, including Cheryl, who has no way of knowing the true nature of the man behind the suggestive jokes. The story of the film now shifts to a flashback. In a different time and place, New York City 1971, Charlie, a flight attendant moving into her new apartment, crosses paths with Rodney. She spots him from across the street, a man with a camera, and, in a moment of fate, she asks him to help move her furniture inside. But as he enters her home, his demeanor shifts. For a while, they seem to have a pleasant chit-chat. And for a moment, Charlie thinks he's trying to impress her. But after a short time, Rodney shows his real face. He simply asks her if he can take her picture, and then everything we can see through a roof window is how Rodney is after Charlie's innocence. This pattern, this carefully constructed charm that turns abruptly into menace, plays out once more. And Charlie, unsuspecting, becomes Rodney's victim. With each encounter, Rodney's unsettling behavior leaves viewers questioning, how does someone so outwardly charming harbor such malice? Even once, when Rodney used to work at LA Times as a photographer, he was questioned by police detectives about a recent murder, thinking that he may be involved in it. But his charming and engaging personality even makes the officers believe that he's innocent, though his colleagues start feeling a sense of hostility toward him, which makes him very disappointed and downhearted. Now we're directed back to the rest of the show. As the show progresses, however, something strange happens. In the audience, a woman named Laura watches Bachelor number 3 with unease. Laura recognizes Rodney as the man she saw with her friend Allison, who was later found murdered. A creeping sense of dread fills her, and she hurries to get out of there, accidentally disturbing the show. Cheryl tried to look at Laura, but because of studio lights, she couldn't get a clear image. Laura attempts to report her concerns to security, only to be directed to a janitor rather than someone who might help. Laura's plight is a familiar one. How often do women find themselves second-guessing their instincts due to societal pressures or the opinions of others? It's a poignant reminder of how instinctual fears are sometimes brushed aside rather than investigated. Imagine being in her place. Would you trust your gut, even if others told you it was paranoia? As the game progresses, Cheryl decides to stray from the script, asking her own questions rather than relying on the ones provided. And this subtle act of rebellion is both empowering and ironic. She's unknowingly standing up to a serial killer. Although, she asks some tough questions that could let down any boy's charm and wits, confusing the Bachelors number 1 and 2. But Rodney is on another level. He impresses everyone on the set. During a commercial break, Bachelor number 2 and Rodney exchange some bitter words, and Rodney shows him a photo of the dead body of one of his previous victims to scare him off. That guy thinks Rodney's some kind of weirdo, but Rodney says that photo is fake, and he chews up the photo. Finally, at the end of the show, Ed asks Cheryl to decide which one of the guys is the winner. Rodney's charm ultimately wins her over, but before she meets him, Bachelor number 2 whispers in her ear to be careful of Rodney. Ed introduces Cheryl and Rodney to each other and marks the end of the show. That was obvious that Cheryl was in to get a chance to showcase her acting skills. She wasn't in it to find a date, so she was in a hurry to leave. But as she's leaving the studio, Rodney approaches her and asks her to share a drink. She notices something off, but somehow agrees to go with him. While having a drink at an incredibly weird place, they exchange some interesting thoughts. Rodney's playful demeanor suddenly turns dark as they chat over drinks, and Cheryl feels a sense of foreboding. For a moment, Cheryl looks like she's hypnotized by Rodney's cunning chatter. In this moment, we see her intuition kick in, a feeling many of us know well. It's that inner voice, that unshakable discomfort that nags at us, warning of potential danger. Cheryl's decision to her swift exit speaks to the power of intuition. A silent protector that can't be easily explained yet is often correct. As she returns to her car, Rodney follows, growing more insistent, even asking for her phone number. Cheryl gives him a fake number, but Rodney realizes it and begins to grow angry. Cheryl says she doesn't want to see him again and starts speed walking to her car, but Rodney is still following her. She barely escapes his pursuit in the parking lot, saved only by a group of people exiting the studio at just the right moment. This near escape leaves viewers on edge. What if help hadn't arrived? It's a reminder of how easily danger can lurk in the most familiar places. The day after the taping, Laura once again reports her suspicions about Rodney to the police. But without knowing his name, her report goes nowhere, leaving Rodney free to continue his predatory behavior. The story then pivots back to 1979, when we last seen Amy. While she is breathing a sigh of calmness, Rodney's seemingly harmless demeanor dissolves into violence. Rodney strikes, attacking Amy without hesitation. Amy regains consciousness only to find herself lying bruised and her hands and feet tied with a robe. She wasn't able to move yet. She finds a way to manipulate Rodney's emotions, pretending embarrassment to get him to trust her. This act of quick thinking and self-preservation speaks volumes about the will to survive. In the face of a terrifying situation, Amy taps into her mental strength, remaining calm and finding a way to escape. It's a testament to human resilience, a survival instinct that kicks in even in the direst of moments. Her quick thinking allows her to convince him to release her restraints and return to his apartment. They make a stop at a gas station, and it's here that she seizes her moment. She gets to the nearest cafe and calls for help. Police arrive in time, finally arresting Rodney and putting an end to his spree of terror. While Woman of the Hour doesn't delve into Rodney's trial or the full breadth of his crimes, the film's narrative challenges us to question our own perceptions and judgments. Can we truly recognize danger when it presents itself, or are we often blinded by charm and superficial appearances? Woman of the Hour doesn't just tell a story, it forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they step right into the spotlight, smiling for the camera. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more thrilling breakdowns, and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, stay awesome and keep watching.